Coming up on the Angus Report, efficient females lead to a profitable cow herd. Find out how Maternal Plus, a voluntary program offered by American Angus Association, can make a difference in your operation.
We all love the Angus cow, right? And we think she can do a really good job out there in the industry, so why not collect the data and let's prove it out and tell our commercial customers how long she's predicted to stay in the herd.
Then we head south to check in with ranchers still recovering from the devastating wildfires this past spring. And we congratulate Tom Burke, an Angus enthusiast, on his induction into the Saddle and Sirloin Portrait Gallery during this year's North American International Livestock Exposition. This is the Angus Report. Hello and welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Bob Cervera. Our top news this week. Every producer wants efficient females that produce healthy calves without assistance. But how can producers make the most informed decisions when selecting females to keep in the herd? Kelly Ritalik, Director of Genetic Services for Angus Genetics Incorporated, has the answer. Maternal Plus, a program offered by the American Angus Association, is designed specifically for producers looking to get the most out of their reproductive trait data. Here's what Kelly wants producers to know.
Maternal Plus is basically our whole herd inventory-based reporting system. And so it's a voluntary program for our members who can take advantage of basically this platform to collect cow production tools or cow production data in their herds so that we can work towards a longevity or stability type tool. Immediate benefits are going to include things like having more prediction accuracy on current tools like heifer pregnancy. Because you are giving us your heifer breeding records every year, obviously that's going to help us maintain an accuracy on that HP EPD. The second thing you get are some pretty cool Maternal Plus reports that are just for Maternal Plus users. One of those reports that I really enjoy is the Genetic Trend Report. So basically that's a report that you can pick any trait that we offer and basically benchmark your herd against the entire Angus population. So how great of a marketing tool would that be if you are excelling beyond basically the breed genetic trend and allowing your cows to basically show what they can do. And then finally, you get calving ease, birth weight, and weaning weight EPDs on calves as soon as you enter their birth weight on them. So using those birth weights earlier in the evaluation, you could get those EPDs on those calves as soon as your calving season's over. So you can make some pretty early selection decisions as far as how you want to manage your next calf crop. We all love the Angus cow, right? And we think she can do a really good job out there in the industry, so why not collect the data and let's prove it out and tell our commercial customers how long she's predicted to stay in the herd.
Visit your AAA login or call the American Angus Association to learn more about Maternal Plus and how it can enhance your operation. Wildfires affected ranchers across the Southern Plains and devastated ranch families, their cattle, and their pasture land. The fire swept across 2 million acres and destroyed fencing, livestock, and most devastating, human lives. J.R. Sprague with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension told us most fencing damaged by the fires in Lipscomb County, one of the most devastated counties in Texas, is now replaced. And he says pastures that were burnt to a crisp on March 6th this year are greening up thanks to a wet fall. Yet ranchers across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas still feel the fire's effects. Bernie Smith, a rancher in the Oklahoma Panhandle, told us about his experience cleaning up after the devastating fires. The fire took the lives of hundreds of his cattle and destroyed more than 50 miles of fencing. Here's what he said about the cleanup.
We've received a lot of help from rural America in the form of fencing and hay, and even some cows were donated. And then a lot of people come out and help tear fence out and put fence up. You know, the response from rural America was great. We have a lot to be thankful for. Yeah, we lost a lot, but we will rebuild and we will get to going again. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but it will.
Livestock Groups took a sigh of relief when the Department of Transportation issued ag commodity haulers a 90-day waiver to the electronic logging device rule, set to take effect December 18th. Craig Uden, National Cattlemen's Beef Association president, commended the DOT's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or FMCSA, for listening to Livestock Groups' concerns. FMCSA still plans to implement the ELD rule as scheduled. An ELD electronically records a driver's record of duty status, or RODS, which the Department of Transportation administers. Replacing paper logbooks, ELDs track drivers' compliance with hours of service requirements, among other things. Livestock groups have pushed back on the rule for a while, arguing that the DOT's hours of service rule isn't feasible for the transportation of live animals. When cattle are transported, they need to reach their destination quickly. It's not always possible or ethical to pull over at a truck stop when the ELD announces that the hours of service rule requires parking a truck. Uden said NCBA will continue to work with the DOT to ensure the well-being of both cattle and livestock haulers. Lifelong Angus enthusiast Tom Burke was recently inducted into the Saddle and Sirloin Portrait Gallery at the 2017 North American International Livestock Exposition. Burke is a former American Angus Association board member, a lifelong Angus sale manager, and an avid Angus Foundation and youth supporter. The Saddle and Sirloin Club was established in 1903 at the Chicago Union Stockyards. The club served as a meeting place for stockmen to gather over a sirloin or a saddle of lamb. Saddle and Sirloin Club founders decided their retreat space should also house a portrait gallery collection to pay tribute to individuals who've made significant contributions to the livestock industry's advancement. Since its inception, the Saddle and Sirloin Gallery has inducted 372 people into the portrait gallery. Being inducted into the Saddle and Sirloin Gallery allowed Burke a chance to establish a scholarship fund. The Missouri residents selected none other than the Angus Foundation to establish the Tom Burke Angus Youth Endowment Fund. It's customary for gallery inductees to designate a nonprofit organization to receive and raise charitable contributions to honor the individual. The Angus Foundation will award a young man and young lady a $1,250 scholarship for their participation in events and contests at the National Junior Angus Show. We caught up with Tom at the North American in Louisville. Here's what he said about receiving the honor.
The induction into the Saddle and Sirloin, as it was last night, was probably the highlight of my life. It's, I guess as they call it, it's kind of the Heisman Trophy of the cattle industry. And there's one person a year that's selected, and I was so excited about it. It thrilled me to no end to be able to be inducted into this. I never dreamed I'd ever be able to be in it. In fact, in 1953, when I was 10 years old, my brother and I came to the International. Our father took us, and we snuck off to the Saddle and Sirloin to look at the portraits. So you can see it's been something that I've always had a passion for, and I always respected, and something I always loved.
We applaud Tom for his dedication to improving the Angus breed. He's a true advocate for the beef industry. When we return, we visit with Certified Angus Beef's Kara Lee, who explains CAB's logo targeting the brand that's designed to identify bulls with superior genetics for high-quality beef. Then we hear from longtime veterinarian Dr. Dennis Huck, who talks about the enormous transformation the cattle industry has seen since he began his practice. Visit angus.media to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.
Out here, we begin each new day the same way, by saddling up and heading out to interrogate some of the world's toughest secret keepers. They're never gonna tell us that they don't feel right, and that's one secret we just can't afford to have between us. I know when we find them, we can fix them, because if there's one thing better than having a secret, it's having a secret weapon. It's a Prevo.
It was a testimony to our forebearers. They made these cattle.
It was my great-grandfather who started the first Aberdeen Angus herd.
How many genomic profile tests have been designed specifically for Angus cattle?
There's only one profile created specifically for Angus cattle, and that's Angus GS. Created at Angus Genetics, it's based purely on Angus DNA. Angus GS will have better predictability and deliver more power and accuracy than any previous genomic profile ever. And I know because I designed it that way.
For Angus, by Angus. Angus GS.